Hello everyone, welcome back to Think IP, your go-to channel for everything intellectual property. I'm Dr. M, and today we're diving into the latest changes in Australia's 2025 Franchising Code of Conduct, specifically how these new rules impact your IP rights as a franchisee and what they mean for the value of your business. If you own a franchise or are thinking about investing in one, these changes could mean more transparency, better protections, and even the ability to retain some of the value you've built in the franchise business. So stick around. What's changed for franchisees? Alright, so let's start with the big picture. The 2025 Franchising Code introduces key updates that give franchisees more clarity on intellectual property rights and business investments. Here are two major changes that matter most for your IP. 1. Clearer disclosures on IP-related investments. Franchisees now have the right to know upfront if they're required to spend money on things like proprietary software, branding, upgrades, or marketing materials. That's a win for transparency. 2. New protections on clauses that restrain your trade. If your franchise agreement isn't renewed, even if you wanted to continue, your franchisor may no longer be able to enforce a non-compete clause. This could allow you to keep using some of the business knowledge and goodwill you've built up. Example: let's say you own a franchised cafe and your franchisor decides not to renew your agreement despite your compliance. Under the old rules, you might have been forced to shut down and lose all the customer relationships and branding you built. Under the new code, you may be able to continue running a similar business, provided you didn't infringe on trademarks or confidential information. As a franchisee, what do you need to know about IP ownership? Now let's talk about the most critical part. Who owns what when it comes to IP? Most franchise agreements are structured so that the franchisor owns the trademarks, business model, and proprietary systems. But here's the thing. Many franchisees end up developing their own customer databases, localized marketing strategies, and sometimes even operational efficiencies. The new code attempts to recognize this contribution in a few ways. If you help develop something unique, say a new recipe, a localized ad campaign, or an operational system, check your franchise agreement to see whether you retain any rights to it. If you exit the franchise, understanding whether you can continue to use elements of your business, like customer databases or marketing lists, is now more important than ever. Now, imagine you operate a fitness franchise and introduce a successful social media campaign that drives traffic to your location. The new disclosure rules mean that you'll have clearer terms on whether you can use that same marketing strategy if you ever leave the franchise system. Business valuation and IP. One of the biggest concerns franchisees have is, if I invest in this business, what will it be worth down the track? If I surrender, transfer, assign, or if the franchisor closes, buys back, or terminates the franchise. The good news is that some IP protections in the new code can actually enhance the value of your franchise in a few ways. More transparency equals better decision making. Knowing the full extent of your required investments means fewer financial surprises. If you're selling your franchise later, this also helps potential buyers see the true cost of running it. Goodwill retention. If you've built a strong customer base and your agreement isn't renewed, you may be able to retain those relationships in a new business, helping preserve the value of what you worked so hard to build. Compensation for early termination. If the franchisor ends the agreement early due to strategic restructuring, you could now be entitled to compensation that includes loss of goodwill and IP-related investments. Here's an example. Let's say you're running a franchise printing business and have spent years developing relationships with corporate clients. If the franchisor decides to terminate the franchise network, you could now claim compensation for the goodwill you built, protecting your business value. What should franchisees do next? So what steps should franchisees take in light of these changes? Here are 3 key action points. 1. Review your current agreement. If you're already a franchisee, check your contract for clauses on IP ownership, non-compete terms, and what happens if your agreement isn't renewed. 2. Negotiate your terms up front. If you're looking to buy a franchise, use these new rules to your advantage. Ask about IP rights, marketing fund allocations, and renewal conditions. 3. Seek legal advice on IP protections. If you're unsure about what you can and can't use post-agreement, get an expert opinion to safeguard your interests. Alright, that wraps up today's episode. The new Franchising Code of Conduct introduces more transparency and protection for franchisees, especially when it comes to IP and business value. If you found this useful, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Think IP, and hit that notification bell for more insights on intellectual property and business strategy. Got a question about franchising and IP? Drop it in the comments below and I'll get back to you. Until next time, think IP because it pays.